splits the water molecule, and then, hi, we're here. I'm Robert Sains. We're live at noon from Metro East in Gresham, Oregon. Today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dan Moore and Joyce Bredemeyer. They are, we were going to hydration specialists, right?
Correct.
Hydration specialists. They deal with water, different kinds of water, and how it's good for our health. So let's start with Dan. And so Dan, tell us a little about what your background, what led you into the field of water, and what you've come to figure out.
Well, when I was in my early 20s, I got involved with a wholesale distributing company, that sold equipment that was water treatment, pumping systems, and irrigation. Well, that led me into getting into my own business, of which I was a dealer for those same products. So I've been in water treatment for, well, over 40 years altogether.
Wow.
Yeah, and I retired from that in 2001, sold my company, and thought I was done with it until I ran into this water about 4.5 years ago.
So when you say you ran into the water, you ran into alkaline water, right?
Yes.
So what made the difference from the water that you were dealing, you were doing water treatment, and you had your own company. So what kind of treatment were you doing that was, say, different from what you've found out now about alkaline water?
Well, this water was, this alkaline water was an entirely different area that I was not familiar with. So when I read into it, I really didn't buy into it at first, but a gentleman had told me about it, and so I tried it just to prove him wrong. Okay.
That's how most people figure stuff out, you know, proving it wrong, and then...
Yeah, I mean, he was telling me some pretty crazy stuff. So...
what was some of the stuff you didn't buy into immediately? What was he telling you that left you like...
He was talking about, and gave me a brochure that stated that disease can't survive in an alkaline environment. Cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment. And the whole thing with that is, I was actually going through treatment from a doctor for about 5 months at that point. And so I still didn't listen to him. So a couple more months went by.
What were you in treatment for?
I had tumors on my body that didn't belong there.
Okay, and I think we talked about that. They were benign, is that right?
They weren't diagnosed as a cancer yet.
Okay.
But they had been treating me. They had lanced and drained and antibiotics and salves and different things trying to get rid of these tumors.
Certainly.
And so I got more of them. Well, then a couple months later, I got to thinking about what this gentleman had told me about the water and what I had read. And that's when I called him up and asked him if I could get some. And of course, he was just giving it away and just filling people in, wanting them to know about this particular water. So I drank it, and he told me to drink a gallon of water a day, and I did that. Within 7 days, the tumors had totally disappeared from my body. So when I went back in to have them take another biopsy, there was nothing for them to take a biopsy of.
Really, literally 7 days and they were gone.
Yes.
So they probably were, as a wild guess, lipoid tumors, which are actually, lipoid means they were fat tumors, they're adipose tissue tumors, and so the alkaline water then simply dissolved them,
Dissolved them, yeah. That started me doing a whole round of research in regards to what had happened, because I really still did not attribute it to the alkaline water. So by the time I got done with that, I had a better understanding of really how my body worked. My body really did do the job it was designed to do. The water was just the main thing it needed. This alkaline water was the main thing it needed to actually get that job done.
So the water was the catalyst, really, that got the job
so
done.
The water wasn't a cure, my body was.
Right. So, well, the ramifications then for people who want to lose weight are pretty incredible, right? Because they'll mobilize the fat in your body, because, well, obviously fat doesn't dissolve with regular water or an acid environment. The tumors or whatever, any kind of fat will stay put. But the alkalinity of the water simply mobilizes them for you. So that leads us into a whole bunch of other things. What else can alkaline water do? What other different properties would it have to make it special or stand apart?
Well, as I've discovered about alkaline, if your body's at the right pH, will actually dissolve fatty acids in tissues, okay? Then you take another feature, or I should say, thing that happens when we take this water and restructure. And by the way, I say restructure because the water is not the same coming out of our tap that's up there on the mountain in the Bull Run watershed where we get our water from here in the Portland area. By the time it gets to us, it's piped to us, treated, pumped, and then redistributed to us, that water really is restructured. So what we really do with the unit that we have in our home is restructure the restructured water back to its original state and remove the chemicals, okay? So by doing the machine does this, it splits the water into two waters, an alkaline water and an acid water, okay? By doing that, it actually makes less molecules per cluster of water, so it microclusters that water now so it can literally get into the body and hydrate us and penetrate you at the cell level.
So it actually, the water actually, if we could see the molecular structure, would actually be different, right?
That'd be right.
Now, we have a picture of that. We have the microclusters. Is that possible to put that up? Maybe. There we go. So on the top there, as you can see over the monitor there. So if you're watching at home, of course you're watching at home. The top ones are basically the acid water. The clusters are all everywhere, and so that allows toxins to get into it. There, we're bringing it up a little closer. So toxins get in, and then they lodge within the clusters, right? So then the alkaline water actually restructures into this hexagonal way, and it creates kind of a defense against toxins coming in and staying in your body.
That's right.
Right. That's pretty incredible. So basically what you're saying is that, what I'm understanding is that the water on the mountain, if we go up to the source, it's going to look like hexagonal, right?
It's going to be more like that.
More like that.
That'd be right.
And then by the time it gets treated and it's broken down and chemicals are added and sanitation is added, it breaks the clusters up and it makes it more susceptible for toxic retention. Okay. Well, that's it. So what? How do you accomplish that?
Well, there's on that particular machine that we have here today, there's 7 plates in there, and they're made out of titanium, and they're platinum coated. Okay, both these metals are a medical grade metal, so there's no impurities in it. They're very careful to do that. That's because they market to a lot of hospitals and clinics in Japan. This machine is originally made in Japan, and this technology comes from Japan. So they have to maintain that medical certification, so they use medical grade components inside. And they run a very tight ship as far as how that's put together and everything else about that machine. However, as the water goes over those titanium plates that are platinum coated, it is hit with 230 watts of power. This causes the separation of the waters. So out a drain tube which goes into the sink, and the acid water comes out there, and it's going to carry a very high positive charge to it, which would mean that it would be something that would oxidize you, like a car rusting, okay? Only by drinking that water, it would like oxidize the inside of your body. It's not an antioxidant. We know that an antioxidant will carry a negative charge.
Okay.
Okay, so on the upper tube, or I call the drinking tube, comes out a high alkaline water that is, like we talked about earlier, microclustered, and it's carries a very high negative charge. Okay, so it's a very, very powerful antioxidant. And the problem, of course, today is we just don't get enough antioxidants in what we're eating, and obviously our body will produce antioxidants, but it just can't keep up with everything that we're eating today because everything is so acidic.
So you always hear about a fruit or a vegetable that's high in antioxidants. Are we getting enough antioxidants through those foods, or because there's so many other acidic foods that we really can't get enough anymore from natural foods, and we need to supplement with an alkaline water hydration system?
It's pretty hard. I think there's all kinds of antioxidants, and some things that they say that it is an antioxidant and isn't, okay? But you really need to put a lot of antioxidants into your body. You can't put too many, okay? So this is just one way it makes it easiest for most people to do so. Okay? And it's the most powerful antioxidant that I've been able to find out there on the market, and I've been looking now for about 4.5 years, and I still do a lot of research on anything that comes out there along this line. So.
And so basically antioxidation, they say, is the anti-aging drug, right? That's what keeps us young and keeps us going.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Let me ask Joyce a few questions. How did you get into this alkaline water?
Well, I belong to the Troutdale Chamber of Commerce, and I knew Linda, Dan's wife, from there. I didn't know Dan at all, but I knew Linda, and one Wednesday morning at Chamber of Commerce meeting, Dan and Linda did a water demo. And I had heard about the water from this other gentleman from the Chamber of Commerce. And the water demo just blew my mind. I just couldn't believe, and I had been drinking a lot of soda pop, and I was in so much pain from arthritis. I'd had shots in my knee, shots in my thumbs.
These are steroid shots, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And a shot in my shoulder. And my shoulder, the shot didn't help the pain at all. It was such an excruciating pain that just radiated down my right arm. I had a very hard time sleeping at night.
How long have you been suffering from that?
Probably about a year.
Really?
Yes.
And nothing was working? You were probably taking ibuprofen and any kind of pain medication to offset
I
it?
was.
And of course, right, any kind of medication is an acidic, you know, intake. So you blew your mind to see the demo, and we're going to have a demo in a little while and show everybody at home what Joyce saw. So after you did it and you started to do the alkaline water, how long before you saw actual results from it?
Well, actually, I started going over to Dan and Linda's house to get the water because my husband had psoriasis.
Okay.
I basically started getting it because I wanted to get the psoriasis under control. And I was told that using the water, different waters topically, it would cure or help his psoriasis.
Okay, now let me stop you there. So you say using different waters.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Well, out of the gray tube or the acid tube.
Okay, these are the two tubes on the machine, right?
The two tubes on the machine, a very, very strong acid water.
So it's corrosive. Is it almost corrosive?
Extremely. It kills bacteria.
Okay, so that you would actually put on topically, then you wouldn't drink that.
No, no.
No. Okay.
No. So you spray that on his psoriasis and then let that dry and then put the very extremely high alkaline water, which you don't drink also, on towels, and I wrapped his legs. And in just a day or so I could see the psoriasis clearing up. So I got the water originally from Dan and Linda to help my husband. And it did. And in the meantime, I was drinking the 9.5 alkaline water. And one day I said, I don't have any more pain. It's all gone. Wow. Just never thinking that it was going to help me
All right,
that
so
much.
People watching may not understand what you mean by I drank the 9.5 water, or we put the 11.5 or the 2.5. So do you want to explain that, or Dan, do you want to explain the different levels and where we're at with that?
Yeah, we have 3 different drinking levels of drinking water. That would be the 8.5 alkaline level. Now 7 is neutral on the alkaline scale of 1 to 14. Okay. Okay, so 7 is neutral. So we know that you need to be above neutral into the alkaline side to drink water. Drinking acid water is not good. Okay, we know that because that causes more acidity inside your body and inside your alkaline. So we have 8.5, 9.0, and 9.0 and then 9.5.
And these are the pH levels, right? And
Yes.
that stands for potential hydrogen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That'd be right. Ultimately, we want to get everybody up to the 9.5, and most people, if they don't start drinking it right away, we'll get them up there within 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. Now, myself, I started out with 9.5, and it worked out great for me that way. I didn't have to start with the lesser alkaline water.
Now, why would you do that?
I wanted to get the best and most powerful water they had.
But why would other people start small and go up? Is the body can't handle the change immediately?
Well, the water was going to have a tendency, in fact will, detoxify you. If you're extremely toxic, okay, you could detox too fast. okay, you might feel a little discomfort in the tummy or something like that. If that's the case, cut back your drinking water to 8.5 for a week, go to 9 for a week, and then go back up to 9.5. Some people just can't handle the 9.5. I've only run into about 2 of those over the last 4.5 years, okay? But once in a while, I'll run into someone like that. So that's why we have those different drinks.